When you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you'll get to see when we're releasing new episodes as well as hear the teasers. Just type in Unshaved Podcast. On our last episode, in this third of 4 parts of my conversation with Darryl, he explains how key acceptance was in rebuilding his relationship with his daughter.
I had to accept the fact that I wasn't a good father like that early on.
They're involved in the situation that they're in the same place. You have to give people room and
as life going on, like stuff starting to surface. I used to say, "Dad, my father used to say that too."
Something my dad told me that I really didn't appreciate necessarily when he said it.
I used to feed right into that crazy stuff, negativity. I used to feed right into it, man.
Just giving over your power, right? Like,
if
you're at the whim of everybody else's comment and concern.
Yeah, but it wasn't actually what he said, what he did. He put his hands on me, at that time, and I just, I think I just blacked out. I was in my office, and a dude came to my office, said a few words, and I said something.
Looking back, right, we can think about what do we have to lose in a situation like this. There's a lot of things you have to evaluate. Hey, welcome to Unshaved. I'm Takesha, and this podcast came to be simply because I wanted to archive conversations between me and my mother. And because we talked about pursuing a creative project together for a long time now, I just figured starting a podcast would kind of fit the bill for both. Our lives and relationship have had many twists, turns, highs, and lows, and the way we've gotten through them always started with raw conversations. We're consistently pursuing a deeper understanding of not only each other and our relationship, but also of ourselves. If the topics and conversations explored in this space help you to navigate your journey in any way, then that's even better. So whether it's just myself or if I'm joined by my mom or other guests, you can expect content that is explorative, honest, and maybe even just a little bit outside the lines. Welcome to Unshaved. Thank you to those of you who are returning listeners, as well as to those of you tuning in for the first time. In this concluding episode of my conversation with Darryl on acceptance, he talks about the differences in the ways he sees and responds to things now versus how he would have in the past, and what that basically looks like in his actions.
You've been home and everything. You made it off parole without violating. Then I was working with the kids for a minute, doing a little mentoring and all this kind of stuff. And she had mentioned all that to the judge and everything. And then I had my mental health counselor with me, and she was there, a little support and everything. So the lawyer came and said, so what they want to do, they want to drop the assault with a deadly weapon and just make it a possession of a prohibited weapon, which is a misdemeanor, 6 months. So that's what they did. They gave me 6-month probation. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. I just knew I was gone, man. Because the dude, what's it called? He got, from me stabbing, he got nerve damage and all that stuff now. And, he wrote the letter to the judge while I was in court.
You said he wrote a letter?
Yeah, he wrote a letter to the court. And when I went to court for sentencing, the prosecutor read the letter and how he was talking about, he a homeless man and how can a staff member do this? And he got nerve damage the rest of his life. All this old crazy stuff, man. But anyway, they 6-month probation. And then a job, they ain't want to give me my unemployment or nothing. Because of the nature of why I got fired. So
that was looking back on that, I mean, because we grow from our experiences or whatever. Do you think that if something like that were to happen now, you would still respond the same way?
Nah, I call the police. Yeah. I call the police for real. Because, that could have went a different way, I just call the police. I just been assaulted. And yeah, I'll just call the police.
Right, because it's not worth all that stuff, right? It's just...
Yeah. Because me and Marsha was together one time, and we was going into McDonald's, and this dude, she had a friend of hers, I think it was a friend of hers grandson or something like that with us, right? And we was going to the McDonald's right there off Good Hope Road over Southeast. So we was going in, and there was a guy out there panhandling, right? And he was like, man, you got any change? And I was like, nah, home. I said, you got to feed our little nephew right here. And he went off. Man, I ain't asked you about who you got to feed. And man, I'm talking about he just went off. Then he started like walking towards me. And at that time, I was still carrying a knife. I was ready to get him. Marsha told me, Darryl, no, come on, man. Come on, let him go. Just let him go. I was like, all right, man. So we went on in McDonald's, got the food. And she was like, man, you got to stop carrying that knife, man. I said, all right. So I just stopped carrying it, man. I stopped carrying it. Because I don't be in no places where, where I think harm won't come to me, because I don't do nothing but go to work and come home. Mm-hmm. I don't do nothing but go to work and come home. And then when I go out, like the other day, it was my girl mother's birthday. Well, we just all got together, took her out to eat, and then she wanted to go to the casino for a little while. We went there. And I was back in the house, because, I don't hang out like that like I used to. So I'm just saying, man, I just used to react like that. I don't change now, because, a lot of times that stuff, you can hurt somebody or somebody can hurt you, just reacting off impulse. So I try to, what they call it, I try to look at the big picture now.
Yeah, it helps to do that.
Yeah, it helps. You're right, it helps. Mm-hmm. Gotta look at the big picture now, because I ain't used to think about nothing, just react. Now you gotta think. How this thing gonna turn out if I do this?
Exactly.
If I do that. So, yeah, acceptance is the answer to all my questions. So, and speaking of that, I had when I had a little situation with Marsha, right? And she was saying about how you was feeling about the situation. So I had to accept the fact that we'll be all right when she get past however she feeling this stuff, right? Because she was like, man, you shouldn't have called my mother with that, because, my daughter, she said, you shouldn't call her daughter with that. That's my daughter, man. And but at that time, I was still in my little other world and stuff, right? Because, when you under the influence and stuff like that, it can distort your thinking and stuff, and how you perceive stuff, right? So I was thinking something that wasn't really there. And then me and your mother wasn't speaking for a while. And then one day I was like, man, let me call her. Because it was on me. It wasn't nothing she did, right? So I had to call and make amends. And that's what I did. That's my baby, man.
And that's it's very big to do. It's very important to do, and sometimes people are going to be receptive to whatever amends we're trying to make, whatever peace we're trying to offer, olive branch we're trying to extend, and then sometimes we're not. And well, sometimes they're not, right? So it's just, one of those things. So, of course, that's my mom. I'll feel a certain kind of way because I know the type of character she has, the type of heart she has, and especially how much she loves you and how she's been so open to you over the years, right? So some things I didn't like about it, and that's the thing about my mom. And I mean, I'm not her parent, right? So she's not really gonna listen to everything I had to say. And I'm just like, Mom, I'm big on boundaries. I'm big on things like that, but I'm also big on forgiveness. And if somebody can step up to the plate, acknowledge what they've done, you know what I mean, and try to really make a genuine peace about it, I think that that's important as well. And, I said, I'm just sit back and observe, because, and when things become repetitious, that's when things can be problematic,
Yeah.
And my concern for her, of course, is that she's living a new lifestyle, and wanting to befriend someone so deeply that may be in direct opposition to what she's trying to do with her life,
Yeah.
and that's where she has a very strong mind. And even since she first went into recovery, she's had to make decisions. And that's what, I know I'm going around a little bit here, but my biggest prayer,
No, we just talking. We talking. It's all right.
yeah. So my biggest prayer was that, I remember with her being homeless, me reading things to her on the phone, and we are talking, and, I said, God, I trust you for her like I trust you for myself. And I wanted her to get into a place where she was really free, not substituting one thing for something else. And what I mean by
Yeah.
that is that I didn't want her to get into a program where it felt like, or get into anything where it felt like, she was substituting now her drug addiction for something else. I wanted her to get her legs under her rather than feeling like she was going from one crutch to another crutch. And she had to
Right.
exercise that very early, in the sense of just making decisions that she thought was best for her. She had to leave a part of the program earlier because of something. I had to give room and trust that, she's going to have to make these types of decisions for herself, and trust that she's trying to do what is best for her. So when it comes to her friendships and associations and things like that, I know she was hurt. That makes me hurt by it,
Yeah.
and I was just like, dang, I don't really like this very much, and I realized nobody can really hurt you to the degree, I think, like, in what we're talking about relationships, and to the effect that you love them. Like, I met you when I was young. I was in high school. We vibed.
Yeah.
We were always good, and so
Right.
to turn, and like, I can understand now, right? Looking at it from a clear perspective, that, like you said, you weren't necessarily in your right way of thinking,
Yeah.
perceiving things. And so,
Right.
I had to understand that as well. And I commend your growth. I thank you that you did reach out to her and give her the apology that you felt she was owed, and that
Yeah,
you
I
all were
did
able
that.
to make a peace with that, right? And
Yeah.
even with us, right? So I know you didn't come to me and say anything or anything like that, but I could see that it was taking time, and you were gradually like reemerging, and it wasn't anything pushy or anything like that. And I was just like, you know what, Mom, I was talking to her. I was like, I'm good with him now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a good place with
Yeah.
him organically. It wasn't like she was trying to encourage me to get to that place or anything like
Nah,
that.
she
It was,
wasn't. She
yeah.
wasn't. She told me. She said, "Man," and she said, "Look, that's my daughter. I know my daughter. She be all right."
Yeah. So, and that's what, just coming with acceptance, right? Allowing things to give
Yeah.
them the time that they need to
Yeah. That's
organically
it.
happen. Yeah.
Good time. Yeah.
We be the only
Yeah.
ones in a rush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, she already, I know you already know how we met, right?
Yeah. We talked about this recently. You all were. Do you want me to? I'm sorry. Did you want me to say how you met now, or
Yeah,
were
she
you
told
going
you.
into that?
Yeah, you can tell me if you remember how she said we met.
So I believe the story goes that you all were getting high in someone's apartment. No. Okay, so you were staying with someone, and I think you went
Yeah,
into that apartment to get
yeah,
high, and
yeah,
she said it was a filthy environment. And she's like, "Man, you
yes,
don't have to stay here. You can come stay
yeah,
with me," because she's like super clean. You know what I mean?
yes,
And
yeah,
that's how that happened. And you all would have these conversations. And she said you were introduced to Narcotics Anonymous and things like that, or like the rooms, I
mhm,
think that you all refer to it as. So she was
yeah,
like, you all were talking about getting clean. And she said she really wasn't imagining herself in that place. That wasn't what she was thinking about. But
right, right,
she appreciated your conversation, and you were bringing something to her that she hadn't had experience or any knowledge about really firsthand,
mhm.
or anyone else to talk to about that kind of thing. So
And
that's
really, that's when the seed was planted for real, for real.
mhm,
When you look back on it, that's when the seed was planted.
absolutely.
Cause I ain't see her for a while, and I was locked up and stuff like that. And when I came back home, she was clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was glad for her, man. Yeah, she was clean, man. But that was that was because I remember the days when she used to be like, Keisha coming.
Clean this shit up, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep, that's what it was. Clean that shit up. I'm telling you, man. Yeah. But that's life experience, man. That's something else. I'm telling you. But I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm telling you, I'm good, man. I stopped smoking cigarettes, everything.
Covering so many different topics. So
Right,
you
right.
brought so much to the table, and I'm hoping that I've done it justice by asking, appropriate questions to go along or whatever, and giving you room to express what you wanted to express. I just wanted to make sure you have said what you felt like you wanted to acknowledge as far as acceptance.
Yeah, I think it can. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty good. So, well, if I was to say something to the listeners and stuff like that, all I would tell them is, acceptance is the answer to all our questions.
It definitely brings peace when we're not in resistance to everything, right?
Right, that's right. Definitely will. And like, when you're in a situation when because that serenity prayer works too. That serenity prayer definitely works too. Because sometimes when you're in a situation, you can use that prayer right then and there. That serenity prayer, you can use it right then and there.
I absolutely love that. It genuinely, it's been one of my favorites for so many years. It's so profound, and the author is anonymous, I believe. I don't even know who put that out.
They're anonymous for real.
So that's the way I've usually saw it, like the author anonymous. But God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
And I wonder when they put that out there, did they think how much of an impact it was going to be on people?
And that's
to
with
use
all of
it.
us. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever we put out, it has some type of impact, whether it's negative or positive. It's just a matter of
Right. That's right.
Are we putting out
Right.
positive impacts or negative impacts?
Yeah, you're right about that. So look, I heard this dude say one day, because he had been in a predicament that I was in before as far as drug use and stuff, right? So he say people ask him, because he often talk about God. So people say, man, are you religious? And he said, nah, I'm not religious. He said, because he believed that religious people believe in hell. And he say, I'm spiritual. And he saying, and I believe that spiritual people already been through hell.
Mm.
So I kind of was pondering on that. But if he was coming from the aspect of going through that drug addiction, I understand what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because that shit, yeah, living hell. Yeah. So, well, I guess we touched on a lot of different aspects of acceptance.
Yeah. And I'm glad you made it through that living hell. That had to be a lot to go through, especially with experiencing an overdose like that. So I'm glad that you have your sponsor, your network, and that these things are sticking and working for you. Because I think that oftentimes when you speak about prison and things like that, we think about literal places, but we can imprison our own selves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm glad you're free from that, and you're continuing to set yourself free in the way you think and you live in your life.
Yeah, you're right. We can imprison our own self. Ain't gotta be the physical prison. That's right. Yeah. That sound like a topic.
So that's it for this episode of Unshaved. Thank you for making time to listen in. Your engagement is very much appreciated. So let me know that you're rocking with the show by sharing this podcast information with others, dropping a comment, clicking the star or like buttons, downloading, subscribing, applauding, or whatever it is that your platform allows you to do. Also, you can show the show some love through donations on Anchor. Remember that when you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you will get to see when we're releasing new episodes and hear the teasers for the upcoming show as well. Just type in Unshaved Podcast. It's my pleasure to share this space with you all. Until the next time, let's continue to live with love and light.